Hello everyone, I'm Kraken JR, and today I'll share an info summary about recent developments on Star Citizen. First, calling all depths, missiles, 600i, and quantum filters. This week's episode gave us an overview of how the 600i development is affecting the 300 series rework and the 890 jump. Decisions had to be made, and one of those affected turret position, for example. Not everybody is happy, but the ship is good for its intended purpose. Missiles are still being addressed, and CIG continues introducing fixes, but the development around the game mechanic falls victim at times to the rest of the complex environment. The star map will have more options for filtering in the future. That way, reading and interacting with it should get easier and more intuitive. Today, we will cover two versions of Around the Verse, last week's and this week's. In last week's Around the Verse, the title was Ready, Set, Mine. We have seen initiatives from the community on the racing front, but now CIG also brings us scramble races, where you need to collect checkpoints. Initially for ground vehicles, including bikes, but later on, this race mode will have a ship variant. Ships and accessories will be available for rental from Star Marine and Arena Commander interfaces soon. Also, physicalized props are making great progress towards an immersive immersive gameplay from every corner of the verse. The materials and shapes will play a huge role on their behavior and sound. First-turn and lore-build concepts are taking shape and are looking good. This week's ATV is called Party of 50. And it got its name from the Spanish-speaking community event called Los 50 de Roberts, organized by the Skynet group, which took place this past Sunday. I'm proud to have been a part of this event, where we filled a server with a 50-player group and performed a massive EVA to a caterpillar, a quantum link jump, and an epic air-ground battle at Daymar. The French community also made a massive flag formation over the moon's surface. Work is being done to avoid a behavior where fractured rocks would warp all over the surface surrounding the original rock caused by desync. We were also shown preliminary views from space mining and VoIP that is coming in 3.3 by the end of September. The backend necessary to transport audio and facial data in the game is the most important factor to accomplish before we can get face over IP. Great improvements in the sound effects for props, weapons, and objects in general are being accomplished. We were even shown an early demo of the Bandul lance and its sound. Motion warping is now a thing in Star Citizen, and should provide a means to enhance predetermined animations like climbing and vaulting, where you'll need to stretch or shrink a movement. Animations for picking up and grabbing objects now have more variants to accommodate to different shapes, sizes, and contours. This week's lore post from Spectrum Dispatch is called Mining Rocks, July 2948. July 31st, 2948 marks the 400th anniversary of Shubin Interstellar's merger with Fulcrum Mining, which according to Gavin Arlington, Shubin's CEO, was the move that propelled the company into the giant it is now. About the future, a new deal in Xi'an space promises that greatness to keep going for years, if not centuries to come. Just as in real-world scenarios, Shubin creates a Keep It Cool campaign to train its personnel on how to use their mining systems, but also to teach them how to handle the strenuous and difficult relations with other team members involved in mining operations. The element thorium is described and will lead you to think that it will be a hot commodity in the future for energy generation. Also, a new contractor team is announced for the Vega system. They are called the Resupply Guys. This might be a hint about how we could make a profit finding a niche market and specializing in something specific. In their case, the resupply of vending machines to keep the Shubin's Vega crew fed.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Kai Over with TheNightCrew. I'm a miner at heart, and after 6 long years of waiting, 3.2 is finally here, and there's endless riches in them thar hills. In this segment, I'm going to talk about turning rocks into credits, and I'll even give a few pro tips at the end. Start by finding yourself a planet, or more accurately, a moon, at least until 3.3. In my experience, the chance of finding a valuable ore deposit does not correlate to field density. I have found that field density is greater in hillier mountainous areas, so if you'd rather be mining than searching, pick a hilly area on Daymar. Once you arrive on the surface, it's time to find a rock. Press the Tab key to switch to scan mode. You can set the scan range by pressing and holding left Alt and rolling the mouse button up and down. Various levels are available. I prefer 8x. Increasingly focused scans result in narrower scan field over a greater distance. Press and hold the left mouse button until the scanner charge reaches 100% as indicated by the ring, then release the mouse button to start your scan. Any mineable rocks in the area will be indicated by a blue rock icon. Distant deposits will appear as 3-dimensional wireframe boxes. Maneuver your ship within 200 meters or so of a rock, point your bow at it, and wait for the scan to reveal the mineral composition. If you get near a rock icon and no rock appears after a few seconds, move on, it's a bug. Laranite and agricium are the most valuable ores, starting at concentrations as low as 1%. These are followed by diamond, gold, beryl, and tungsten in concentrations between 5 to 8% or better. Increasingly valuable deposits are increasingly difficult to fracture. Difficulty is measured in terms of instability and resistance, both measured in decimal values between 0 and 1, with values approaching 1 corresponding to greater difficulty. Let's start with resistance. Given two rocks of the same mass, the one with higher resistance will absorb less energy at equivalent laser throttle levels. The rock energy level bar indicates how much energy a rock has absorbed and also indicates the fracture and instability zones, indicated by the green and orange segments, respectively. Instability translates to a smaller fracture zone, the green segment, and I suspect also impacts the variability of energy absorption. In other words, you'll notice the rock energy level occasionally jumps or dips, even on a very stable server, especially as you enter the fracture zone. I have noticed that greater instability seems to correspond with greater variability. Fracturing a rock is easy, at least in concept. Press the / button to extend your mining laser, right mouse click to switch to fracture mode, left mouse click to engage the laser, then roll the mouse wheel up and down to control the laser throttle. The energy transfer graph provides a visual cue of the deposit's energy transfer level. Larger rocks require more throttle. Once the rock energy level reaches the green zone, the fracturing sensor will begin to count up. At 100%, the rock will split into smaller pieces. Venturing into the orange zone will cause the overcharge sensor to count up. If that reaches 100%, the rock will explode violently, heavily damaging and possibly even destroying your ship. Once you have successfully fractured your rock, point your ship at each fragment. Collectible fragments will highlight in purple. Right mouse click to switch to extraction mode, and left click to engage the extraction laser. Your cargo capacity indicator will begin to increase. Keep the laser pointed at the fragment until it disappears. Repeat the fracture extract cycle until a deposit is gone or your cargo is full. You can sell your mineral cargo at Olisar, Grimhex, or Levski at one of the wall-mounted terminals near the trade consoles. Simply activate the terminal, select your ship, and you will be presented with a composition and value of your haul. Click Sell and Confirm, and be sure to hydrate at a Big Benny machine on your way back out to the mining fields. And now for the tips I promised. First, take advantage of shield rebalancing. Setting your shields to full front will provide greater protection from explosions if you are prone to them. Second, good deposits tend to spawn in the same place. If you find a cache of valuable deposits, triangulate and write it down so you can easily find it again. Third, wait for a rock to fully scan before moving on. Many times, the first mineral shown will be quartz, and you'll just move on thinking it's junk. I've been surprised at how many quartz deposits have high concentrations of gold, so sometimes it is worth a few extra seconds to complete the scan before moving on. Lastly, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't worry about blowing up. It costs you nothing in this alpha. Unlock your mouse wheel and crank up the laser throttle. Before you know it, your experience and muscle memory will have you plowing through 99 instability rocks in 5 minutes or less. And that's it for this segment. Again, this is Kai Overt for the Night Crew. Mind safe and fly dangerous. See you soon.
Hello, I'm Sigelian, and this is your weekly business update. For anybody out there who is unaware, Kane is one of the premier sellers in the gray market ship sales. And yes, as a disclaimer, trading on the gray market is in violation of the Cloud Imperium Games terms and conditions. So I had a great offline discussion with Kane from Kane's Middleman Services. Unfortunately, he didn't feel like his English was strong enough to join me over video, but I asked Kraken Jr. if he could help me out. Hey there, Kane. Thanks for joining us tonight. So tell me, what's the gray market community like? How do you deal with competition?
Fortunately for all of us, the traders and customers, the community is very friendly, and it is usual to see traders helping other traders and customers helping other customers. In fact, when a scammer tries to hit the market, we all join together and fight it with all our efforts. Also, the mods of the subreddit are very active, and they are always watching to keep a good mood in the community and to keep all of us informed in case of scammers, new ways of scamming, or changes in the CIG web. I am very happy to be part of this community and the health and respect it has with each other.
Yeah, I think you speak for all of us when I say that it's good to be a part of this community. Moving on, Kane, tell me, what's the current state of the market? How's business?
Well, at this moment, CIG is launching a new ship each month, and the customers' pockets are limited, so the market is suffering this matter. Also, CIG has changed the refund policy, and they don't refund more accounts, so there is a lot of stock available at this moment. And as the market is alive, the prices are regulated with the offer demand. On the other side, as there are not refunds and final prices of the ships are low, the price we can pay a customer for the accounts with giftable ships are not as big as they were a year ago. So basically, for a big trader, the profit more or less is the same, although the market is lowering the general prices of the ships. The amount of transactions keeps stable, but the prices and profit for each one is lower because of the huge offer available. Please don't misunderstand me, because I am not complaining. It is just a quick analysis about how is the market at this moment.
Right. No worries at all, Kane. So how has business changed now that we've seen a couple of concept sales since the latest update to LTI?
Long time ago, each new concept sale was an opportunity. Nowadays, it is not a huge opportunity, just in limited cases, because there are a large amount of different ships, and as a trader, you don't need to have a ton of ships in stock to supply the demand. In any case, in my humble opinion, as a fan, I love this game and play each weekend some hours. The new policy, where there is always a new concept available, is harming the fans' confidence and their capability to keep funding the game. And that is much more visible in the market, where I receive each day 1 or 2 messages from customers selling accounts.
Gotcha. So how do you see the addition of the Apollo affecting gray market sales?
There is no great difference between the Apollo and other previous concept sales. I think we are accommodating to see a new concept sale available always, and a new sale does not affect the market as the first new concept sales affected it. In fact, thinking it more deeply, my opinion is that we can get much more profit with the CCU system on each new ship than with the original concept itself.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So I'd now like to just look at this this graphic we have here. So we're just talking about the Starfarer Gemini prices. So over the past year, it seems like the Starfarer Gemini is just recovering from the lowest it's been since it entered the market. What do you think is the cause of that? Do you anticipate recovery?
The Starfarer Gemini appears as a military brother of the beloved Starfarer, a very famous ship that was originally sold for $175. This could be just anecdotal, but that would mark the price of the CCU Gemini price, because that upgrade just cost $15, and it can be applied to a $175 ship. So basically, you could sell a $190 cost chip for $300 to $340. At this moment, with the current reduction in price in the Gemini, you can see that more aggravated because of the huge markup we're talking about.
That all makes sense, Kane. Thank you. So I'd like to now go over the Saber Raven. It is also experiencing a downward spiral since its creation. Do you feel like it might make a comeback?
The Raven is a special case in the market. It was a present when you bought the SSD Optane, and this brings us two problems. The first is that it has no value in the CIG store. I think they said that was around $250 or so. The price rank is not established. The second was that if you returned the SSD purchase in a store, the Raven would disappear from your account, and that scared a lot of customers. The less customers, the lower the price. I think nowadays there is no way to buy a Raven because of the promo ending. So it is possible that the price would rise a bit, but who knows?
Who knows? That's right. So just to wrap everything up today, Kane, tell us all some hot ships to pay attention to over the next month within the gray market.
The 890 jump is always demanded, as well as the Iris M or the Scythe. They were extremely limited chips and there is always demand for them. With the rework of the 300 series, I think the interest on them will rise, so hopefully the price will do it too. And finally, when future patches are launched, the new flyable chips will raise the price almost for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Kane. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for the good information. And this has been your weekly business update. And we'll see you all around the verse.
Hello, I'm Shy Canadian, Vice President of Ultima Energy and Resources. Ultima Energy is a Canadian worldwide industrial gases cooperation. It is one of the largest such companies in the Terra and Stanton systems and the third largest UEE certified industrial gas supplier in terms of revenue. You may be wondering why you should become a member of our co-op. Every member receives a unique membership number, which is used to record purchases at any station. Throughout the year, purchases you make increase the dividend you'll receive at the end of the year.
Dividends are returned to members either as co-op equity or cash back. Cash back is paid out annually, whereas equity remains with Ultima as your investment in the co-op. It will help finance the business, maintain and upgrade assets, and ensure future growth for the benefit of all members. This means that our fuel and resources will remain at the market average price. The co-op is different from a public or private traded business. We have a different purpose. At Ultima, we seek to provide benefits to our members, whereas a private or public business seeks to maximize returns for its shareholders. We also have a different control structure. Each member owns a single share in the co-op. A private or public business may have one or several shareholders who own a majority of its shares. This gives them substantial sway over administrative decision-making, where they could override the wishes of smaller shareholders. This sort of imbalance cannot occur in a co-op such as Ultima Energy, because each member has a single share and vote regarding administrative decisions. Co-ops are also accountable and accessible. We publish local finance reports and hold local annual meetings to report on operations and answer questions. All co-op personnel, even the general manager and president of the board of directors, are accessible to customers. We also have a different distribution of earnings. In a co-op, earnings are distributed to members based on their purchases during the year. Private business pays earnings to its shareholders proportional to the number of shares they own. Ultima Energy's structure as a co-op corporation has allowed it to flourish and expand for over a millennia. We hope you will consider becoming a member of the co-op to ensure fair prices and reliable access to resources for the future. Thank you.